Dr. Lisa Grant stared at the computer screen in shock. The numbers could not be right. She ran the scan again, then a third time. Each time, the result was the same. Something huge was moving toward Earth from deep space. Lisa worked at the Deep Space Monitoring Station in Nevada. Her job was to watch for asteroids and comets that might hit Earth. She had been doing this work for 15 years. She had never seen anything like this before. The radar showed not one object, but hundreds. They were moving in perfect formation. They were too organized to be natural. These were ships. Alien ships. Lisa's hands shook as she reached for the red phone on her desk. This phone connected directly to the Pentagon. She had never used it before. She hoped she would never have to use it. "This is Dr. Grant at Deep Space Monitoring," she said when someone answered. "I need to speak with General Murphy right away. We have a situation." 5 minutes later, General Carl Murphy was on the line. He was the head of Earth's defense forces. Lisa had met him once during a security briefing. He was a serious man who did not waste time. "What do you have, Dr. Grant?" Murphy asked. "General, we are tracking multiple objects approaching from the outer solar system. They are moving in formation. Based on their size and speed, I believe they are alien spacecraft. There are at least 300 of them." There was silence on the line. Lisa could hear Murphy breathing heavily. "How long until they reach Earth?" he asked. Lisa looked at her calculations. At their current speed, approximately 72 hours. "Send me all your data immediately. Do not discuss this with anyone else." "That is an order." The line went dead. Lisa began uploading her files to the Pentagon's secure servers. Her mind raced with questions. Who were these aliens? What did they want? Were they friendly? Meanwhile, in the lead ship of the alien fleet, Commander Vexthal studied the blue planet on his main screen. Earth looked small and defenseless. It would be easy to conquer. Vexthal was a tall reptilian creature with dark green scales and yellow eyes. He had been conquering worlds for the Zephyrian Empire for 30 years. He had never lost a battle. He did not expect to lose this one. "Admiral Kethmer," he called to his second-in-command. "What do our scouts report about this world?" "Admiral." Kethmer was smaller than Vexthal, but equally dangerous. His red scales marked him as a warrior-class Zephyrian. He had been studying Earth for months. "The humans are primitive, Commander. They have barely left their own planet. Their weapons are chemical-based. Their fastest ships use simple rocket engines. They will surrender quickly once they see our power." Vexthal nodded. This was how it always went. The Empire would arrive at a new world. They would demand surrender. The planet's people would see the massive fleet and give up without a fight. Then the Empire would take what they wanted. "How many humans live on this world?" Vexthal asked. "Approximately 8 billion, Kethmer replied. "They will make good workers once we enslave them. The planet has good resources. Water, metals, and fertile land. Excellent. Begin the standard first contact protocol. Give them the usual ultimatum." At the White House, President Karen Stone sat in the Situation Room with her top advisors. General Murphy had briefed them on the approaching alien fleet. The room was tense and quiet. "How long do we have?" President Stone asked. "Less than 3 days," Murphy replied. "The aliens are already broadcasting on all frequencies. They want you to surrender." Defense Secretary Alex Turner leaned forward. "What exactly are they saying?" Murphy pressed a button on his tablet. The room's speakers crackled to life. A cold, mechanical voice filled the air. "People of Earth, I am Commander Vexthal of the Zephyrian Empire. Your world has been selected for integration into our empire. You have 72 hours to surrender unconditionally. Submit to our rule, and your deaths will be quick. Resist, and your species will suffer greatly before extinction. This is your only warning." A message repeated in dozens of languages. President Stone felt a chill run down her spine. These aliens were not here to make friends. What are options? She asked. Chief of Staff Ryan Bell spoke up. "We could try to negotiate. Maybe they will accept some kind of compromise." "Unlikely," Murphy said. "Their message is clear. Total surrender or total destruction. These are conquerors, not diplomats." President Stone looked around the table. "What about our military? Can we fight them?" Murphy was quiet for a long moment. "Ma'am, they have hundreds of ships. Each one is larger than our biggest aircraft carrier. Our most advanced weapons might not even scratch their hulls. So we have no choice but to surrender?" "Not necessarily," Murphy said. He looked directly at the president. "There are some classified projects you should know about, programs that have been running for decades. We may have more options than the aliens think." President Stone raised an eyebrow. "What kind of projects?" "The kind that require the highest security clearance." "Ma'am, with your permission, I would like to contact Captain Jake Harrison. He commands our most advanced ship." "I have never heard of this ship." "That was the point, ma'am. The USS Defender has been hidden for 20 years. It was built using technology that officially does not exist." President Stone stared at Murphy. "Are you telling me we have been hiding alien technology?" "Yes, ma'am. We have been preparing for this day for a very long time." Captain Jake Harrison stood on the bridge of the USS Defender. His ship was hidden behind the moon, invisible to alien sensors. He had been waiting for this moment his entire career. The Defender looked like no other human ship. It was sleek and silver, with curves that seemed to flow like water. Its engines made no sound. Its weapons were unlike anything in the official military inventory. Harrison's crew was small but highly trained. Lieutenant Sam Davis handled tactics and communications. Chief Petty Officer Maria Santos ran the engines. Sergeant Tony Mitchell controlled the weapons systems. They had all volunteered for this secret mission years ago. "Captain," Davis said, "we are receiving the alien ultimatum. Should we respond?" Harrison looked at the alien fleet on his main screen. They were still 2 days away from Earth. Their ships were huge and intimidating. But Harrison was not intimidated. "Open a channel to the alien command ship," he ordered. "Channel open, sir." Harrison stepped forward. His voice was calm and steady. "This is Captain Jake Harrison of the USS Defender. You have entered our solar system without permission. This is your only warning. Leave now or face the consequences." On the alien flagship, Commander Vextil stared at his communication officer in surprise. "Did that primitive just threaten us?" "Yes, Commander. A single small ship is demanding that we leave." Vextil began to laugh. It was a harsh, grating sound that filled the bridge. "One ship? Against our entire fleet? These humans are either very brave or very stupid." Admiral Kethner looked concerned. "Commander, something feels wrong. No species has ever threatened us like this. They always beg for mercy." "These humans will beg soon enough," Vextil replied. "Prepare the demonstration. Let them see what happens to those who defy the Empire." Commander Vextil watched as his weapons officer targeted a large asteroid near Mars. The asteroid was about the size of a mountain. It would make a good demonstration of Zephyrian power. "Fire," Vextil ordered. A bright beam of energy shot from his flagship. The beam hit the asteroid and turned it into dust in seconds. The explosion lit up space like a new star. Any human watching would understand the message clearly. On Earth, President Stone and her advisors watched the destruction on their screens. The alien weapon had completely destroyed the asteroid. Nothing remained but glowing particles. "My God," Secretary Turner whispered. They could do that to our cities. General Murphy remained calm. They want us to be afraid. Fear makes people surrender faster. President Stone turned to Murphy. You mentioned classified projects. I think it is time I learned about them. Murphy nodded. Ma'am, please follow. We need to go to a secure location. They left the Situation Room and took an elevator deep underground. The elevator went down much further than President Stone had known was possible. When the doors opened, she found herself in a massive underground facility. The place was filled with scientists and military personnel. Computer screens showed data, streams from around the world. In the center of the room stood a woman in a colonel's uniform. Ma'am, this is Colonel Amy Rodriguez, Murphy said. She runs Project Prometheus. Colonel Rodriguez saluted the president. Ma'am, welcome to humanity's best-kept secret. What exactly is Project Prometheus? President Stone asked. Rodriguez led them to a large display screen. It showed technical drawings of spacecraft and weapons that looked nothing like current human technology. 50 years ago, we detected our first alien probe near Earth, Rodriguez explained. We managed to capture it before it could report back. Since then, we have encountered 17 different alien devices. We have been studying them and learning from them. President Stone stared at the screen. You mean we have had alien technology for 50 years? Yes, ma'am. We have been reverse engineering everything we could. We built new materials, new engines, new weapons. All of it has been classified at the highest levels. Dr. Nathan Brooks stepped forward. He was a thin man with gray hair and thick glasses. He looked like he had not slept in days. Ma'am, I am the chief scientist for this project. We have been preparing for this invasion for decades. We knew it would come eventually. How could you know that? President Stone asked. The alien probes we captured were not exploring, Brooks explained. They were scouting. Someone was planning to invade Earth. We just did not know when. On the hidden lunar base, Captain Harrison received new orders from Earth. He was to position his ship between the alien fleet and Earth. His mission was to buy time for the planet's defenses to activate. Lieutenant Davis looked worried. Captain, there are over 300 alien ships. We are just one vessel. Harrison smiled. Sam, you have been on this ship for 3 years. Do you really think we are just one normal vessel? Davis thought about the strange technology that powered their ship, the engines that made no sound, the weapons that fired beams of pure energy, the shields that could stop any known weapon. No, sir, I suppose we are not normal at all. That is right. This ship was built using technology from 12 different alien civilizations. We are not as helpless as we appear. Chief Santos checked her engine readings. Everything looked perfect. The alien power source they used was more efficient than anything humans had built before. It gave them almost unlimited energy. Sergeant Mitchell ran tests on the weapon systems. The alien weapons they had installed were incredibly powerful. They could punch through any known armor. But he wondered if they would work against the approaching fleet. Captain, Mitchell said, these aliens might have better shields than the ones we captured technology from. Maybe, Harrison replied, but they do not know what we have. Surprise is our biggest advantage. Back on the alien flagship, Admiral, Kethmer studied the human response to their demonstration. Most species would be begging for mercy by now. Instead, the humans seem to be preparing for war. Commander, Kethmer said, the humans are moving their military forces. They appear to be taking defensive positions. Vexthol laughed. Let them prepare. Their primitive weapons cannot harm our ships. Their missiles will bounce off our shields like raindrops. What about that single human ship that threatened us? Kethmer asked. One ship against our entire fleet? It is meaningless. Perhaps we will capture it and study their technology. It might be amusing. However, Kethmer felt uneasy. In 30 years of conquest, he had learned to trust his instincts. Something about this situation felt different. The humans were too calm, too confident. On Earth, the secret defensive systems began to activate. Hidden facilities that had been built over decades started coming online. Satellites that looked like space junk revealed their true purpose. Underground bases that did not officially exist began preparing their weapons. Dr. Grant continued monitoring the alien fleet from her station in Nevada. But now she was not alone. Military personnel had taken control of her facility. Her simple monitoring station was now part of Earth's defense network. Dr. Grant, said Major Kevin Wright, who was now in charge of the station, your equipment is being upgraded. We need better tracking of the alien ships. Lisa watched as soldiers installed new equipment that looked like nothing she had ever seen. The technology was clearly not human in origin. Major, where did this equipment come from? She asked. Wright looked around to make sure no one else was listening. Doc, what I am about to tell you is classified. We have been collecting alien technology for 50 years. All of it has been reverse engineered and improved. This invasion is not a surprise. We have been waiting for it. Lisa felt dizzy. You? Mean the government knew aliens would invade? We knew someone would try eventually. Earth has resources that many species want. Water, metals, and billions of potential slaves. We prepared for the worst. The new equipment came online. Lisa gasped as her screens filled with detailed information about the alien fleet. She could see inside their ships. She could monitor their communications. She could track their weapons and shields. How is this possible? She asked. Alien technology. Works both ways, Doc. We can use it to spy on them, just like they spy on us. Commander Vexthal would have been alarmed if he knew how much the humans could see. His fleet's communications were being monitored. His ship positions were being tracked. His weapons capabilities were being analyzed, but Vexthal remained confident. He had conquered over 200 worlds. He had destroyed entire civilizations. Earth would be just another victory for the Empire. Prepare the fleet for final approach, he ordered. We will reach their planet in 18 hours. Begin charging. The bombardment weapons. Admiral Kethmer hesitated. Commander, should we not try to communicate with them first? Perhaps they will surrender without a fight. They had their chance to surrender, Vexthal replied. They chose to threaten us instead. Now they will face the consequences. Captain Harrison received word that the aliens were preparing for their final attack. He moved the USS Defender into position directly in front of the alien fleet. His single ship looked tiny compared to the massive alien vessels. Captain, Davis said, they are trying to communicate with us. Put them through. The main screen filled with the image of Commander Vexthal. His reptilian face looked cruel and confident. Human. Captain, Vexthal said, you have shown courage by facing us. I will give you one chance to surrender. Join our empire, and you will be allowed to live as our servant. Harrison looked directly at the alien commander. I already gave you our answer. Leave our system now. This is your final warning. Vexthal's eyes flashed with anger. You dare threaten the Zephyrian Empire? Your pathetic little ship cannot harm us. We will see about that, Harrison replied calmly. The communication ended. Vexthal turned to his weapons officer. Target that human ship. Destroy it completely. Let Earth see what happens to those who defy us. The alien fleet began charging their weapons. Energy readings spiked across dozens of ships. They were preparing to fire everything they had at the USS Defender. The Zephyrian fleet fired everything they had at the USS Defender. Dozens of energy beams streaked through space toward Harrison's ship. The beams were powerful enough to destroy an entire city. On the bridge of the Defender, Sergeant Mitchell watched the incoming weapons fire on his screen. Captain, multiple energy weapons incoming. Impact in 10 seconds. Raise shields, Harrison ordered calmly. Chief Santos activated the defensive systems. A shimmering barrier appeared around the defender just as the alien weapons hit. The energy. Beams struck the shields and simply disappeared. On the alien flagship, Commander Vexthol stared in shock. What happened? Why is that ship still there? His weapons officer checked his instruments twice. Commander, our weapons hit the target directly, but there was no explosion, no debris. The human ship is undamaged. Admiral Kethmer felt his blood turn cold. Commander, that is impossible. Our weapons can destroy mountains. No ship should be able to withstand that much firepower. Vexthol refused to believe what he was seeing. Fire again. Use maximum power. The alien fleet fired a second. Volley. This time they used their most powerful weapons. The energy beams were twice as strong as before. Space lit up like a miniature sun as the weapons struck the defender. Again, the human ship was completely unharmed. Captain Harrison opened a communication channel to the alien fleet. His voice was calm and patient, like a teacher explaining something. To slow students. You have now seen our defensive capabilities, Harrison said. Your weapons cannot harm us. I am going to demonstrate our offensive capabilities. Please observe. Harrison nodded to Mitchell. Sergeant, target the asteroid field near Jupiter. Minimum power. Mitchell selected a target. It was a large asteroid, about the same size as the one the aliens had destroyed earlier. He fired a single shot from the defender's main weapon. The beam that emerged from the human ship was different from anything the aliens had seen. It was not just energy. It seemed to bend space itself as it traveled. When it hit the asteroid, the result was spectacular. The asteroid did not just explode, it ceased to exist. The alien weapon had turned rock into dust. The human weapon had turned rock into nothing at all. Not even dust remained. On the alien flagship, every officer stared at their screens in horror. Their most powerful weapons had left debris when they destroyed the first asteroid. The human weapon had left absolutely nothing. How is this possible? Vexthol whispered. Admiral Kethmer was already running calculations. Commander, that weapon used technology we do not understand. It appears to unmake matter at the atomic level. Impossible. No species has that kind of technology. Apparently, the humans do. On Earth, President Stone watched the demonstration. From the underground command center, Dr. Brooks was explaining what had just happened. The weapon uses controlled antimatter contained in a gravitational field, Brooks said. When it hits a target, it causes a matter-antimatter reaction that destroys everything at the molecular level. Where did we get this technology? President Stone asked. From an alien probe we captured 15 years ago, Colonel Rodriguez replied. We have been improving it ever since. President Stone shook her head in amazement. So we have been using alien technology to defend against aliens? Yes, ma'am. We have collected technology from 17 different species over the years. We have combined the best features from all of them. Captain Harrison was not finished with his demonstration. He targeted the communications array on one of the smaller alien ships. This time he fired with precision, destroying only the specific target he had selected. The alien ship was not destroyed. Only its ability to communicate was removed. The shot had been so precise that it had damaged nothing else on the ship. As you can see, Harrison broadcast to the alien fleet, we can choose to destroy you completely or disable you selectively. The choice is yours. Commander Vexthol realized he was facing something he had never encountered before. A species that appeared primitive but possessed superior technology. His entire understanding of the galaxy had just been shattered. All ships, prepare to retreat, he ordered. Commander. Admiral Kethmer protested. We cannot retreat. The Empire has never retreated from a single ship. Look at your screens. Admiral, that is not just a single ship. That is a weapon platform using technology we do not understand. If we continue this attack, we will lose the entire fleet. But Vexthal's pride would not let him retreat so easily. He had spent 30 years building his reputation as an unstoppable conqueror. He could not return to the Empire defeated by primitive humans. New plan, he announced. We will bypass the human ship and attack their planet directly. Once their cities are burning, they will surrender. The alien fleet split into 3 groups. One group would keep the defender busy, while the other 2 attacked Earth from different directions. It was a sound military strategy that had worked. Many times before Captain Harrison watched the alien fleet maneuver on his tactical display. Lieutenant Davis was tracking all 3 groups. Captain, they are trying to get around us, Davis reported. I see that. Contact Earth Command. Tell them to activate the planetary defense grid. Back on Earth, Colonel Rodriguez received Harrison's message. She turned to President Stone. Ma'am, it is time to reveal the rest of our preparations. We need to activate the full defense system. Do it, President Stone ordered. Rodriguez entered a series of codes into her computer. Around the globe, hidden facilities began to power up. What appeared to be communication towers revealed themselves as energy weapons. Satellites that had been in orbit for years suddenly activated. Advanced targeting systems. The space around Earth began to fill with defensive installations that had been invisible until now. Cloaking technology that had been adapted from alien designs dropped away, revealing a network of weapons platforms, shield generators, and sensor arrays. Dr. Grant watched from her station as dozens of new contacts appeared on her screens. Right, where did all these ships come from? They have been there all along, Doc. We have been building our defenses in secret for 50 years. What you are seeing now is just the beginning. The first group of alien ships approached Earth's atmosphere. They expected to find a defenseless planet protected only by primitive missiles and aircraft. Instead, they found themselves facing weapons that belonged in science fiction. Energy beams shot up from the planet's surface. The beams were different colors, some blue, some green, some red. Each color represented technology taken from a different alien species and improved by human engineers. The first alien ship to enter Earth's atmosphere was hit by 3 different beam weapons simultaneously. Its shields, which had protected it through 100 battles, failed in seconds. The ship broke apart and fell burning into the ocean. Commander Vexthal watched in horror as ship after ship was destroyed by the planet's defenses. His advanced warships were being swatted from the sky like insects. How many defense systems do they have? He demanded. His sensor officer was frantically scanning the planet. Commander, I am detecting weapons installations on every continent. There are also orbital platforms we did not see before. They must have been using some kind of cloaking technology. Admiral Kethmer was studying the tactical display. Commander, we are not just fighting the humans. We are fighting an alliance of technologies from multiple species. They have been collecting and combining alien technology for decades. Vexthal finally understood. The humans had not developed this technology themselves. They had been preparing for invasion by studying every alien device they could find. They had turned the galaxy's own technology against its would-be conquerors. Captain Harrison was coordinating the defense from his position near the moon. The Defender's advanced sensors could track every alien ship and guide Earth's weapons to their targets. Lieutenant Davis, relay targeting data to Luna Base and Mars Station, Harrison ordered. Davis looked surprised. Mars Station, sir. Yes, Lieutenant. We have had a secret base on Mars for 20 years. It is time they joined the fight. High above Mars, what appeared to be a small research station suddenly revealed its true nature. Weapon ports opened across its surface. The station was not just a research facility. It was a fortress armed with the most advanced weapons humanity had ever built. The Mars station opened fire on the alien ships trying to approach Earth from the outer solar system. The range was incredible, millions of miles, but the weapons hit their targets with perfect accuracy. Commander Vexthul realized that the humans had not just prepared to defend their planet. They had turned their entire solar system into a giant weapons platform. Every moon, every asteroid, every space station was part of their defense network. All ships full retreat. He finally ordered, "We cannot win this battle." But Captain Harrison was not ready to let them leave so easily. Commander Vexthul watched his fleet try to retreat. But the humans were not letting them leave easily. Ships that tried to flee found their engines failing. Others discovered their navigation systems had been hacked. The USS Defender moved through the alien fleet like a shark among fish. Captain Harrison's ship was faster and more maneuverable than anything the Zephyrians had ever seen. It could appear anywhere in seconds. "How are they doing this?" Vexthul demanded. His chief engineer, Sub-Commander Ziltek, was frantically checking his systems. "Commander, they are using some kind of quantum interference. Our engines are being disrupted by an unknown energy field." Admiral Kethmer studied the tactical display. "Commander, they are not just attacking us. They are controlling space itself, around our ships. This technology is beyond anything in our databases." On Earth, Dr. Brooks was explaining the situation to President Stone. "Ma'am, we are using gravitational manipulation technology we recovered from a crashed probe 10 years ago. We can create gravity wells that trap enemy ships." "You mean we can control gravity?" President Stone asked. "Within limits, yes. We can make space around an enemy ship act like thick mud. Their engines cannot push through it." Colonel Rodriguez was coordinating the attack from the command center. "Ma'am, we have disabled 60% of their fleet. They cannot escape, and they cannot fight back effectively." President Stone made a decision that would change galactic history. "Colonel, I want you to disable their entire fleet, but do not destroy them. We need prisoners for questioning." "Yes, ma'am. I will relay those orders." Captain Harrison received the new orders. He opened a communication channel to the entire alien fleet. "Attention Zephyrian vessels, you are now our prisoners. Shut down your weapons and engines. Any ship that continues to resist will be destroyed." On the alien flagship, Commander Vexthul faced the hardest decision of his career. He had never surrendered to anyone. The Zephyrian Empire did not surrender, but he was responsible for the lives of 50,000 crew members across his fleet. "Commander," Admiral Kethmer said quietly, "we have no choice. They have completely outmatched us." Vexthul looked around his bridge. His officers were waiting for orders. These were soldiers who had followed him through dozens of battles. They trusted him to make the right decision. "All ships, stand down weapons," he finally ordered. "Shut down engines and prepare to be boarded." The words tasted like poison in his mouth, but the alternative was the complete destruction of his fleet. Captain Harrison coordinated the boarding operations. Teams of human soldiers moved from ship to ship, securing the alien vessels. The soldiers wore advanced armor that protected them from any weapons the aliens might have hidden. Lieutenant Colonel Kevin Wright led one of the boarding teams onto Vexthul's flagship. Wright had been trained for this mission for years. He spoke several alien languages and understood alien military protocols. Commander Vexthul waited in his command center as the humans took control of his ship. When Wright arrived, the alien commander was surprised. He had expected the humans to be cool conquerors like himself. Instead, Wright was professional and respectful. "Commander Vexthal, I am Lieutenant Colonel Wright. You and your crew will be treated according to the rules of war. No one will be harmed if you cooperate." Vexthal studied the human officer. Wright was smaller than most Zephyrians, but he carried himself with quiet confidence. His equipment was clearly superior to anything in the Zephyrian military. "How long have your people been preparing for this invasion?" Vexthal asked. Wright considered the question. 50 years, Commander. We knew someone would come eventually. We have been getting ready." "Impossible. 50 years ago, your species had barely reached your own moon." "That is what we wanted everyone to think," Wright replied. "We learned early that it is better to appear weak while you prepare to be strong." On Earth, President Stone was dealing with the aftermath of the battle. The alien fleet had been completely defeated without the loss of a single human life. It was the most one-sided military victory in history. General Murphy briefed the president on the captured aliens. "Ma'am, we now have over 50,000 prisoners from dozens of different worlds. The Zephyrian Empire is not just one species. It is a collection of conquered races. Are any of the prisoners willing to talk?" President Stone asked. "Yes, ma'am. Many of them are not loyal to the Empire. They were forced to serve after their own worlds were conquered. They want to go home." Dr. Brooks had been studying the captured alien technology. "Ma'am, their ships contain technology from hundreds of different civilizations. The Empire has been stealing and copying advanced technology for centuries." President Stone realized the implications. "So they do to other species what they tried to do to us." "Exactly. They conquer, enslave, and steal. They are parasites feeding off the galaxy's creativity and resources." Colonel Rodriguez approached with a report. "Ma'am, we have identified the location of the Zephyrian home world. It is about 200 light years from Earth." "How many ships do they have there?" President Stone asked. "According to the prisoners, at least 1,000 warships, plus manufacturing facilities and billions of citizens." President Stone sat back in her chair. The victory over this invasion fleet was just the beginning. The Empire would send more ships when this fleet failed. To report back. "General Murphy, how many ships can we build with our current technology?" Murphy consulted his tablet. "Ma'am, we can build about 20 ships the size of the Defender each year. But that assumes we can get enough of the rare materials needed for the advanced systems." Dr. Brooks spoke up. "Ma'am, the captured alien ships contain tons of those rare materials. We can salvage enough to build hundreds of new ships." President Stone smiled for the first time in days. "So we can use their own ships to build our fleet?" "Yes, ma'am. We can also improve our designs using their technology. Within 5 years, we could have the most advanced fleet in the galaxy." Captain Harrison docked with the alien flagship to personally meet Commander Vexthal. The two military leaders faced each other in the ship's conference room. Both were professionals who understood the realities of war. "Captain Harrison," Vexthal said, "I must ask, how did your species develop such advanced technology so quickly?" Harrison sat across from the alien commander. "We had help, Commander. Every time your empire sent scouts to study Earth, we captured them. Every probe, every spy, every reconnaissance mission gave us new technology to study." Vexthal's eyes widened. "You have been capturing our scouts for 50 years? "Among others. The galaxy is full of species that want to conquer Earth. We have been collecting their technology and learning from it. You could say that you taught us how to defeat you." The alien commander felt a mixture of respect and horror. The humans had turned the Empire's own intelligence operations against them. They had been patient, careful, and clever. "What will happen to my crew?" Vexthal asked. "That depends on you, Commander. We are not conquerors like your Empire. We want to return the species you have enslaved to their home worlds. We want to free the galaxy from your tyranny." Vexthal was quiet for a long moment. "And if I help you? Then you and your crew will be treated with honor. You can return to your home world and tell your leaders that Earth is under human protection. Any future aggression will be met with decisive force. And if I refuse?" Harrison's expression remained calm. "Then you will remain our prisoner while we free the galaxy without your help. The choice is yours, Commander." Commander Vexthal realized that his universe had fundamentally changed. The species he had dismissed as primitive had completely outmatched the Empire's finest fleet. They possessed technology that seemed like magic. Most importantly, they had been preparing for this confrontation for decades. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted. Earth was no longer a target for conquest. It was now a force that could project power across the stars. For the first time in his life, Vexthal felt something he had never experienced before: fear. Not fear of death, but fear of the changes that were coming. The Empire had ruled through force and terror for centuries. Now they faced an enemy that was stronger, smarter, and more patient than they had ever been. Commander Vexthal made his decision 3 days after his capture. He would cooperate with the humans. The alternative was to watch helplessly as they freed the galaxy without his help. At least this way, he could try to minimize the damage to his own people. President Stone met with Vexthal in a secure conference room deep underground. The alien commander was no longer the proud conqueror who had threatened Earth. He looked tired and defeated. "Commander," President Stone said, "Captain Harrison tells me you are willing to help us." Vexthal nodded slowly. "I am, President Stone. But I must ask for something in return." "What do you want?" "When you defeat the Empire, please remember that most Zephyrians are not evil. We are a proud warrior race, but we are not monsters. Many of us were forced to serve the Empire or watch our families die." President Stone studied the alien's face. She could see genuine regret in his yellow eyes. "Commander, we are not interested in revenge. We want to free the enslaved species and establish peace. Your people can be part of that peace if they choose." Over the following weeks, Vexthal provided detailed information about the Empire's military capabilities, base locations, and political structure. The intelligence was invaluable for planning humanity's next moves. Dr. Brooks worked with alien engineers from the captured fleet to understand their technology better. Many of the prisoners were happy to help. They had been enslaved by the Empire, just like the species they had been forced to conquer. President Stone, Dr. Brooks reported during a briefing, "We have learned something important. The Empire's technology is not as advanced as we thought. Most of it is stolen from other species. They are not innovators. They are thieves." General Murphy added, "Ma'am, this means we can build ships that are superior to anything the Empire has. Our technology combines the best features from dozens of different civilizations." Colonel Rodriguez had been coordinating the construction of humanity's new fleet. "Ma'am, we now have 40 ships under construction. Each one is more advanced than the Defender. We will be ready for the next phase of operations within 6 months." President Stone had been planning that next phase carefully. "General, I want you to contact the leaders of the species enslaved by the Empire. Tell them that Earth offers an alliance for freedom." Captain Harrison had been promoted to admiral and put in charge of the new fleet. His flagship was a massive vessel called the USS Liberty. It was 10 times larger than the Defender and carried weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Lieutenant Davis, now promoted to commander, served as Harrison's second in command. Chief Santos had become the fleet's chief engineer. Sergeant Mitchell was now Colonel Mitchell, in charge of all fleet weapons systems. 6 months after the failed invasion of Earth, Admiral Harrison led a fleet of 50 human ships toward the Zephyrian home system. But they were not going as conquerors. They were going as liberators. The fleet included ships from 12 different species that had been freed from Empire control. The Altarians provided advanced shields. The Vegans contributed powerful engines. The Centaurians offered superior sensors. Each species brought their best technology to the Alliance. Commander Helen Price commanded one of the escort ships in Harrison's fleet. Her vessel, the USS Freedom, was crewed entirely by former slaves of the Empire. They were eager to strike back at their former masters. When the Liberation fleet arrived at the Zephyrian homeworld, they found a massive defensive force waiting for them. Over 1,000 Empire ships guarded the planet. It was the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history. But the Empire's numbers meant nothing against superior technology and tactics. Admiral Harrison divided his fleet into small groups that attacked from multiple directions. The human ships moved like ghosts, appearing and disappearing at will. The battle was over in 6 hours. The Empire's fleet was completely destroyed or captured. Not a single human ship was lost. The liberation of the galaxy had begun. Emperor Krextal, the supreme ruler of the Zephyrian Empire, contacted Admiral Harrison from his palace on the planet's surface. The Emperor was an ancient Zephyrian who had ruled for over 200 years. "Human Admiral," Krextal said, "you have won this battle, but you cannot hold an entire galaxy. We have millions of ships across thousands of worlds." Harrison's response was calm and confident. "Emperor, you are mistaken. We are not here to conquer your empire. We are here to free it." "What do you mean?" "We know that most of your people are slaves, just like the species you conquered. We offer them a choice, freedom or continued slavery under your rule." Harrison broadcast a message to every world in the Empire. The message was translated into hundreds of languages and transmitted on all frequencies. "People of the galaxy," Harrison said, "Earth offers you freedom from the Empire's tyranny. We will help you rebuild your worlds and govern yourselves. The age of conquest and slavery is over." The response was immediate and overwhelming. On world after world, enslaved, populations rose up against their Empire masters. Local governors who had been forced to serve the Empire switched sides. Even many Zephyrian commanders joined the rebellion. Within 3 months, the Empire had collapsed. Emperor Krextal was captured and put on trial for crimes against the galaxy. Commander Vexthal testified against his former leader, helping to expose centuries of atrocities. President Stone traveled to the galactic capital to address the new Galactic Council. Representatives from over 300 species attended the historic meeting. "Citizens of the galaxy," President Stone said, "Earth proposes a new form of government. A council where every species has an equal voice. No more empires. No more slavery. Only cooperation and mutual respect." The proposal was approved unanimously. The Galactic Federation was born, with Earth as its founding member and protector. Dr. Grant, who had first detected the alien invasion, was appointed as the Federation's chief science officer. Her job was to coordinate scientific cooperation between all member species. Wright became General Wright and took command of the Federation's military forces. His mission was to ensure that no new empire could rise to threaten galactic peace. Commander Vexthal was pardoned for his crimes and appointed as an advisor to the Federation military. His knowledge of imperial tactics helped prevent future conflicts. Admiral Harrison retired from active duty and became Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Federation. He spent his remaining years helping former enemies become friends. 5 years. After the failed invasion of Earth, the galaxy was at peace for the first time in centuries. Trade flowed freely between worlds. Scientific knowledge was shared openly. Former slaves rebuilt their civilizations with help from their liberators. Earth had become the most respected world in the galaxy, not because of its military power, but because of its commitment to freedom and justice. The species that had once seemed primitive had taught the galaxy a new way to live. Dr. Brooks continued his research, but now he worked with scientists from hundreds of different worlds. Together, they made discoveries that benefited all species. Technology that had once been hoarded by empires was now shared freely. President Stone served 2 more terms before retiring. Her final speech to the Galactic Council was remembered for generations. When the Zephyrian Empire threatened Earth, she said, they thought they were conquering a primitive world. Instead, they awakened a force for freedom that changed the galaxy forever. Let us remember that lesson. The strong should protect the weak, not exploit them. The galaxy had learned that humanity's greatest weapon was not their advanced technology. It was their belief that all intelligent species deserved to be free. That belief had transformed a galaxy ruled by fear into a community based on hope. And in the Deep Space Monitoring Station, where it all began, Dr. Lisa Grant continued her watch. But now she was not looking for threats. She was looking for new species that might want to join the galactic community. The age of empires was over. The age of cooperation had begun. And it had all started with one simple message. This is your only warning. Leave our system now, or face the consequences. The galaxy had learned not to underestimate humanity. But more importantly, humanity had learned that their greatest victory was not in conquering their enemies, but in turning them into friends.